We have jousting after. Spectacular.
Welcome to a special. What is it today? Friday? Friday
Friday
night
night.
AGL. We'll have Team AGL for the first time in like 50 years. And apparently Shrek said if this is very popular, he'll keep doing it. Eventually, you'll have a tournament for it.
Here's hoping. I've seen a few 2v2 tournaments in the past, and I've always been very excited for doubles AGL.
I believe the
Uh,
last 2v2 tournament, Bodrum and Angier just stomped everyone.
I don't know if that was the last one. I believe that there was a one-off doubles event a few years ago that had a few interesting team compositions. I actually remember fighting in that tournament and getting just absolutely smeared by a half
I don't
dwarf
know if
armsman.
betting is allowed, but we have Trevnin, Trisarna, the Weemic, and Filar and Slayers against Zola and Relbag, Human Priest, and a giant ogre barb I've never heard of.
Actually, I do believe that there will be betting tonight. I think that was mentioned in the forum post. Um, looking at the fighters, I'm with you. I haven't seen Relbag in the past, so I don't really know what to make of him. But we've seen Zola and Trevnan in the arena before, and their fights have always been really back and forth. So it's going to be a matchup between the two of them and two relative unknowns. I don't think we've seen anything out of either Trisarna or Relbag. So this should serve as an interesting matchup because
Oh,
in there.
so I will bet. Oh, so you can either bet on Golden Fang or a Hellfire.
Alrighty. Um, I want to bet on Hellfire in this, even though Trevnan beat Zola in their last matchup and is going to actually have Druid support this time. He's getting that support from a Filar, and that's honestly not going to be that big of a.
But I don't think Rollback can save. Zola takes the one dispel because Zola's not gonna do anything unless he dispels Trevnin.
Oof, that's a fair point, but even a dispelled giant ogre barbarian is going to have more staying power
Oh, we're
than.
off already. Rollback is
Oh
not
wow!
sneaking. He's a barb, isn't he?
Well, he's a giant ogre as well.
There's the
And there's the
dispel.
dispel going out. Missed the
One thing we
charge.
might see him play today is the con change, so Rollback might not take as much damage. Rollback's blind.
And then gets bashed by a Weemic and is, at this point, getting beat on by Trevnan. Failed the bash this time. That's one of those things that you can't really expect to do too many times in a row.
Doesn't look
But
like Rollback has potions.
that may well be the case, and that's a concerning fact if true. That's just basic preparation. There's the weekend
So
going out
Holy Smite, Trisarna, I guess.
just
Not
to
really doing
mitigate.
spell damage though.
Right, not yet. But Relbag at this point really needs to get a cleanse off so that he can go into shield and power swing if nothing else. Because right now he's losing a straight hitting contest with a Weemic, which really shouldn't ever happen. There's the
This match is
cleanse,
over pretty much.
more or less. Yeah, I expected a little bit more coming out of this.
I mean, I realize they're not experienced in the arena, but if you play a barb, you need to stat your gear of all strength decks, so weaken doesn't do anything.
Weaken and slow don't really do much, but to slow down your actions.
No.
But it looks like his preparation failed kind of in the conception stage. Like we're not seeing any potion use coming out.
I mean, it
It's
could have been possible that Zola just tried to find whoever he could to team up with him.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking happened here. Just somebody who didn't have time to prepare for this fight.
Trevnin is making, and there's the toast destroyed.
Relbag goes down, red toast to Trevnin, and now it's 2v1 against Zola.
I'm
Zola
taking
getting
bets on how
bashed.
many rounds before Zola firestorms. Any takers?
No, I'm
Oh,
not.
there's a firestorm right there.
I was about to say smart money is within 3. I mean, he's going up against 2 furries, so I understand the thought process in it. But it's just not efficient, even with vulnerability, to merit doing that.
If I was Trisana, I would just spam cost fat at this point, just to make it faster.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Her
judgment.
auto assist isn't even on, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it's not.
Well, she should be getting firestormed. I thought that she would be still participating. It's just that her strength is so low that Zola's defending every hit. Because
Wow.
successful
She needs some
defensive
hit
rounds.
roll, yo.
Well, successful defensive rounds don't show at all. It's not. Oh, yeah. No,
But
now you're
all
seeing the
the
misses.
misses, they need to improve.
I'm seeing the misses
I'm
now.
surprised about that because Felars have really high decks.
Ugh,
That's about all they have.
that's all they've got going for them. It's that, and that's actually really it. Filar is just not a happy class
They are not in the
race.
They're not in a good place right now.
Well, have they ever been?
No, no.
Just their stat line hasn't
Maybe
lent itself well to.
pre-strength boost like 15 years ago. You know,
It
when all
hasn't
the
been
small
that long.
races were actually they could be playable on some level.
I mean, elves are still playable as casters,
That's
which
not nearly the same. Elves don't have like sub 50 con.
yeah, they do.
They don't.
Elves have like 34 to 39 con,
Nope.
except wild elves.
What are you smoking? Help racial elves. Shalness the elf 40.
That must have been that buffed recently because I could have
No,
sworn that was only like 38 because dark elves used to be higher and it was like 39 or 40.
no, no. Stop. There's no defense for how bad Velars are. Very much.
No, like I'm not trying to defend just the relative merits of Felar. It's not a winning argument.
I would say Trisarna should blind the Fire Elemental, but it doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah, at this point they're just killing it as a formality.
I don't know who this co-caster is as Harry. He sort of just asked me, and I allowed him on.
Is Azeri talking shit on OC?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. I suppose that since he's Asian, he has the right to say what he wants.
Why do I have to link it every time? It never changes, Trace.
Trevnan dropping the emote in the arena, going for style points as
Wow.
Trisarna does break out the cause fatalities.
Honestly, Felar spell damage isn't too bad.
That's not horrible.
Now,
A lot of failed bashes. I'm wondering if you shouldn't just use charge at this point. And there's the red toast.
And there's our first match. I don't know how many matches there are. Probably at least 3 or 4.
I want to take a moment to just call Trevnan out for his own good, but there is a typo in that F set, and it's bothering me.
Casually?
Yes,
Causally?
causally.
Aren't they kingdomers? Don't they study this stuff and how to spell?
I mean,
And second of all, why didn't the M catch it?
well, the M's just copy paste what they're given. If you're
They don't
lucky,
read it?
they'll spell check it for you, but typically they'll leave you on your own to make your own bed, and I mean that's okay. And since Trevnan has set foot in the world of clanners, I suppose we can overlook the small typo.
Oh, they are in Slayers now. I haven't really
Yes,
played.
they are. Both Trevnan and Trisarna have been in Slayers and have been tearing it up in the field today.
Just to see who's online right now. There's a lot of people that could be playing. There's the double singer possibility in Shallon SD. There's multiple singers on. We have C as Harry, Grendel, Ferg, and Pythias are all online. That's probably 2 teams right there.
Oh, that's probably just a match in the making, because putting them against any other setup is just unfair.
It's okay, no one knows how to play Troll Barbs, especially that Grendel guy.
That Grendel guy is terrible.
Yeah, he's horrible.
And then, looks like we don't see any Invokers on, but that's usually just what they like you to think.
Because Rumpton can beat any team by himself, right? Except a pirate team. Isn't Eric online or something?
I think I saw Eric online earlier, but I don't know if he managed to get a partner. And I wouldn't be too surprised if it were something like Rumpton and Granick, or some other Invoker and Granick, and they just play the death ball that they normally
That happened
do.
before when you have 2 Invokers chaining off each other. It's just hard to deal with.
It's their Conclave death ball. We see it every year that there's a twos category in Sea Wars. And this matchup looks
We
to
have Rezikir and Garen versus Fardock and Utherin.
That's an interesting matchup, if I've ever seen one. Two Blade Singers, so there was one prediction for you, going up against a Priest and a Battle Rager.
Um, I would say mechanically there's no way for Warrior to win because Farda can't heal the Rager.
Right, and Udarin is a Mountain Dwarf Rager, which
Not even
is
a Hildorf. He's the crafting race.
yeah, it's once again it's another one of those racial rough matchups. Like Mountain Dwarves are the sad sack dwarves, and they're going up against two Wild Elf Singers.
Well,
The only thing that could save this is Fardock landing
lucky
spells.
dispels, yes. Or
He has to land everything.
because otherwise, if the Uterin doesn't rage, he won't do any damage. But then if he rages, he can't get healed.
Right. That's a really ugly pairing, and probably another one of those just alliance of conveniences for the sake of getting into the arena. But it's definitely looking like an uphill fight for what did they
I
call
would say the
themselves?
chances of Wargar winning this match is the same chance of Justice being Bloodlust in Sea Wars.
So
You have a chance,
there's a chance,
but
but
very
like
low.
it's one of those outside
Actually, I
edge
think the chances
chances.
are way worse, to be honest. And we're just waiting for the odds at this point, but I mean, 100% sure the elves are favored.
Yeah, I believe that they said that it was 2-1 in favor of the elves.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Wait, who's Deadman walking?
I think that might be the elves. What are the team names?
Warhammer?
Warhammer, I believe, is the dwarves.
Okay.
Let me go back up and look for you, though. I don't want to make that judgment call wrong. I know you won't ever let me hear
Yeah,
the end.
that's right, that's right. I will bet on Deadman walking.
Yeah, that's looking like the smart bet in this fight.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever been manatonic and just walk in and out of the room to trigger the manatonic message off people?
It's a lot of fun. Oh, I forgot. You have like what Tooth Alma that you took in ACFL one year.
Yeah, I lost at the Rec 11 finals.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Because we just kept trading deaths, so eventually I ran out. I ran out of my 3 Thalma, guys. Or was it
The
4?
the manatonic entropy took place.
Yeah, Charlie Allen and me just traded Thalma for like the whole finals.
Seems fair and balanced. All right, looks like we
Funny
got.
barbarian story about Thalma I actually have. At one point, Enduro was manatonic, and a giant ogre barb in Justice killed him and took his Thalma. So apparently barbs like to take Thalma, but they can't use it for anything.
Well, they can, but unfortunately, I'm not really at liberty to talk about that, especially not even on a stream. But there are ways to get some mileage out of that flag on a barbarian. You gotta invest a little bit in some headhunting for it.
We have 1 minute to go.
Looks like Siderum is trying to summon Cthulhu.
30 seconds. I am fine tonight, but if you guys want, I can just leave the stream on. I'm not really trying to hide anything. Uh-oh, my stunning potions are evaporating.
That's no good.
And we're off. Here's an air elemental. Best gear is dirted.
Oh
And both
wow!
singers are on Utherin.
That was a pretty abrupt turnaround. Both Blade Singers now.
Garen's actually on Farlock for now. Now they're both on Uterin. And Uterin
Oh
is
wow!
going to
Just
go
getting
down.
absolutely shredded. Like even by those small hits, and it looks like Reziker actually got a 3-hit mid-round off somehow. That's alarming and a little bit weird. That's really uncomfortable to see.
And Uterin's just dying. Straight up.
Yeah, no, he's just in the
I
blender
think
right now.
Fardock's just trying to dispel or something. I don't know what he can do at this point. And Uterin's in red and he can't.
Yeah, there's no way to get back from this, and this is that racial issue that we were talking about earlier. That mountain dwarves are just the stepchildren of battle raiders, despite being like the pure-blooded mountain dwarf race.
I'm pretty sure Garen is not even sanctuary.
There's a good chance that that is the
Yeah,
case.
because it's taking mutilates.
Wow. And the fact that it doesn't even appear to matter. Wow, red toast from both of them.
Oh, now we see Rezikir bought Perforate. I forgot about that.
Wow, that is a really rough hand to be dealt, though. Just seeing a mountain dwarf get absolutely eviscerated by two wild elf singers and not even being able to muster like a cursory response to that. And I don't know, it's just really rough to watch. I would love personally to play in Wargar, but seeing just a straight performance like that out of the one race that I think that I would like to play in Wargar is completely as a player who likes to compete. That's just a big turnoff to me.
It looks like Fardock is actually tanking both singers pretty well. I haven't seen them go for disarm at all.
That was just unpleasant to watch. Wow. He was getting hit something like 11, 12 times around, and now it's just a matter of what kind of slow death Fardock's gonna die in turn. Because I don't think that he can out-heal that kind of punishment.
No, there's no way. Even if you did, there's no damage output. It doesn't matter. Fardock's AC is pretty good, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Dwarven AC is nice. Like even though Udarin was just getting creamed by those hits, it wasn't like they were doing a lot of damage. It was just that there was a lot of them, and he couldn't hit them back.
Well, now it's just a matter of time before this match ends. We're just waiting.
Yeah,
Fardock. Okay, I've stated this before. I don't know why people do this, but you should never switch all your mana gear at once. You're not utilizing it properly.
One of those things that you do in steps. Usually, I start with the light to get, because usually if you're using like a Sea Dragon's Eye, that's actually
either the light or the amulet, so you get the AC from the neck piece.
Right. It depends on whether you value your stats or your AC more.
Agreed.
I actually had to go get some more potions. What have I missed so far?
Nothing, just slow death to Fardock.
Okay.
Neither singer wants to blind the air elemental.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're just slowly beating him to death, and Fardock is wimpying, so it's at this point just a formality. 2 sets of acid blasts going out.
Now there's the wimpy.
Yeah, there's just nothing that you can do about this. That was... And I mean, I don't want to get started in on Blade Singers. Everybody ever has heard my opinion about Blade Singers.
You should save that for forums.
The thing is, when I do, then you get all the Blade Singer players out of the woodwork and riled. But when you watch something like this, it really kind of puts it into perspective, just how overtuned they are, even within their own niche.
There's not much to say about this match. It's like just waiting. Garen finally dips in the red somehow.
You're watching a professional UFC fighter do battle with a 3-year-old. And while it's funny on some sort of level, it's still morally irresponsible for us to sit here and watch this and allow this to happen. And there's the unsanked Acid Blast. Fardock just taking an absurd amount of killing to die. He doesn't have top round, so he's not even getting chip damage in there. He's just stalling it out. I don't know if he's hoping that Bladesinger hitting stops functioning when they run out of mana, which would be kind of nice. And there's the Yellow Toast. Managed to at least bring it down into yellow, which is a sight better than the previous fight. So we'll see if we can get some sequential improvement in the team dynamics as the night goes on. That was a rout, but a very slow motion one, as opposed to the very abrupt sort of deal we had earlier. Alright, and looks like the next set of fighters haven't been pulled up yet. Alrighty. Show me some entertainment, Del Nietzsche. I mean, looking at the Who list, we've got a really nice turnout online. I was kind of expecting to see Zoltas in the arena, but instead we got Udarin and Fardock, who just evaporated. I mean, Zoltas is a good arena fellow, so I was expecting something, some sort of presence. Unless he's paired up with somebody else, but I'm not certain who Wargar is friendly with these days. Is it just Conclave?
Yeah.
That might actually make for a really nasty pairing as well. Just a support caster keeping Zoltas.
We have Ferg disappeared in the Mushroom Cloud.
Oh, there we go. We have Perrin and Zoltas versus Pythias and Ferg.
That's a rough team for...
That is a nasty team on both sides of the equation.
I thought Oh yeah, you're right. Wargar and Hawkeye don't work. I mean, I guess if Perrin is choked properly, but if you guys remember in Sea Wars, Perrin fought Pythias and he just got destroyed completely.
Yeah, Pythias is a very, very solid Bladesinger player, and we already saw what 2 Bladesingers could do who are relatively new to their class. Now we've got Pythias, who has experimented with the bells and whistles of the class. He knows how to balance his casting and his hitting. He knows how to lean on those when he needs to. Plus, he's got gear. He's got really, really good gear. And he's a good player, and he's going up against 2 very good players with Ferg on his team as well, who I'm told is also a good player. But I only have that as secondhand knowledge. If you could back me up on that, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, we'll go with what you said.
No, I like Ferg. He's fun to play with on the same team, and he's a good opponent to fight against. Azeri, however, asking the hard-hitting questions as to Ferg's relative sobriety. That's usually the defining factor in any sort of Ferg fight, is actually the status of the player himself. It is Friday night. Ferg is getting his drink on. And I half thought to do the same myself, and then I remembered that I haven't eaten since about 11 this morning, and I am the biggest lightweight this planet has ever
And we're
known.
to the one. Who is the cunning stunts? I didn't look.
Honestly, I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay, it's not the Perrin's Altus team.
Okay. I don't know what cunning stunts means.
Does it really matter?
Presumably? And then Team Chokin Fist, which is an equally dubious name. Honestly, I'm
I
wondering
want to
if
know who Zoltus is fisting.
whoever gets choked.
I'm concerned.
It's an unfortunate situation to be in, whether you're the one being choked or fisted, or God forbid both.
This could either be really short or really long. I'm guessing they'll try to focus Perrin. Pythias and Ferg both have perforate, so they'll probably perforate both of them.
Yeah, they can shut down the regen on both fighters, and if they can choke out Zoltus...
And honestly, they can't stun Pythias, really, so...
Right.
And Ferg would
So
just keep him blind. Ferg will probably just dual wield, to be honest. That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the
Neither
smart
of them
way
can
to do it.
hit Pythias, really, so just focus down Perrin and then kill Zoltus later. So,
Yeah,
because unless Zoltus bought Rake,
Yeah,
Pythias Ferg is only beatable by like a handful of teams on this game, and this is not one of them.
The Conclave Death Ball.
I'm not even sure that. Well, depends if they can get chain off before Ferg gets one down.
Yeah, they have to.
Ferg
Well,
and Piz
as long
is
as
also resistant to chain though, so it's not.
as long as they can just get in combat with each other immediately outside of the prep room, like it can be done. But yeah, it's not a pretty matchup. You'd need somebody stun resistant. But that isn't to say that it's impossible. This is going to be just a really nasty brawl, though. If Ferg can choke Zoltus, it's going to get unpleasant very quickly.
I don't think he's even gonna try. He's just gonna go in and flash, probably.
Equally viable, but less clean.
Now that Perrin's in the match, I feel like I should go kill some mounts that he's gonna summon.
I mean, that's 100% your decision.
Or get spectators to awful.
I've seen that a few times. Like, that's always a really, really upsetting thing to see when people start sabotaging spectators.
It's part of the strategy. If you summon if you summon a post in, people have the right to whittle it down outside the arena.
To me, that's always seemed like it's kind of encroached on the mob softening kind of line.
That's not mob softening, man, at all. Zoltus poisons. I guess Perrin's light sleeper. And Pythias and Ferg are both light sleeper.
It looks like everybody's just hanging out.
They're just baiting the choke.
Yep.
Trying to do it at the bottom of the tick. They'll probably go right now. Maybe not.
Immediately gets the choke on Zoltus, but he wakes up.
It was at the bottom of the tick.
Mm-hmm.
Ferg is choked. Pythias is now just chaining.
That is not a lot of damage going out. Is Zoltus also in Dragon Skins now?
He has a few blues, I think.
Okay, and there is the Warhowl, but Zoltus loses a gold warding ring, and that's one of those things that always kind of needs to be said. Like, don't forget to fireproof your stuff going into the arena.
Yep.
And now we see Pythias just handily
What is Perrin doing? He's not doing any skills, and now he finally does a cross.
Gets into the double swords for cross. That's one of the few stun skills that will go through Blade Song. Blade Song.
Flash, and he does. He should be dual wielding.
Losing more gear.
And he is dual wielding.
Mm-hmm.
And Zoltus is already in red.
Zoltus is just getting shredded by this dual wielding composition.
And now, oh god, this is just ugly as hell.
This and
everyone's just
I'm
wailing on each other with damage.
I'm going to save my Blade Singer rant for the forums, because this is just coming back to that. Like, we just saw a Wild of Blade Singer very handily 1v2 and then turn around, and now we've got him just out hitting everybody else on the table.
And people still don't
Zoltus taking a
fireproof
nap again.
potions. I don't understand.
Zoltus just lost a tidy, probably, what, 6 eggs just in rings? He lost 2 of those gold onyx rings.
Those aren't that hard to get. And parents in red,
Well,
too.
they're still worth a couple of eggs. I think they're worth 2 or 3 eggs each. It's always really it's just really unpleasant to see
God,
a loss like that.
I mean, parents hitting pretty hard, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, no, Perrin's hitting hard, but he has to go into offensive to make that happen, and that's just opening him up to this ravaging that he's taking now. And like, by no means is he not giving really well, and Ferg is feeling that because Perrin switched into the Sword of Truth, Sword of Forgotten Kings combo, so that he could cross through Dragonskins. But like, there's just not a whole lot you can do to this.
And parents and wimpy.
But like that was a good.
Pythias is still on white.
It was a good application of crowd control, a really good reversal from the fight's beginning, but it's just the offensive and defensive capabilities of Bladesingers. I keep telling you, he handily 1v2'd. He just went into stance defensive and started chaining, which is the right thing to do.
Choked, but Parent can't do anything against Pith.
Pythias,
I don't know why he even tried the roundhouse. That was a complete waste of time.
It was worth the attempt, I suppose. And Pythias gets a self-chain in, which actually does more damage to him than to Zoltus.
Parent's wimpy. Pythias is probably just going to spam Acid Blast on Parent because he's a wimpy.
And keep him out of the room so that Zoltus can't get heals on him.
Ferg is up in a few seconds.
He's up in about 5 seconds, yep.
Zoltus in white, it doesn't really matter though.
Zoltus has been healing himself back up. He was he in yellow or red earlier?
He was in red earlier, yeah.
Okay, so he's healed himself back up quite a lot. But like, Ferg has a healthy mana pool as well to get in on this action with. And Zoltus back down in red. He's getting beat very, very hard by this team.
If you can't control one of the members on that team, there's not much you can do.
Right.
And there's
Eric goes down
right here
with a high yellow toast from Pythias, so he's still sitting at about 60-some% health.
Zoltus, I would just not even bother fleeing at this point.
Ferg switching out of mana gear and into his underworld gear. I actually didn't know there was a difference for that. I thought that all underworld gear had mana on it, but I don't know very.
Have mana.
Okay, I don't know a whole lot about the underworld gear. I don't spend a lot of time in the underworld. Not after Justice made me hand over 20-something seals in exchange for being tanked to 51 as a jungler.
I don't remember this at all. Anyways, that's the toast. And
Yellow
I believe
toast.
there will be one more fight.
That was a low yellow toast for Ferg, so he wasn't quite into pretty hurt range. I think that was low big nasty range. So, all things considered, like, Ferg just switching out of mana gear implies that there was still a good bit of healing that he could have done. But that is a very, very difficult matchup if you don't have enough crowd control. And with Ferg having Light Sleeper, it's very difficult to keep either of these people just locked down. Choking Pythias would have been the smarter course of action, because at least you can hit Ferg. But I don't know if Pythias was also Light Sleeper. If that's the case, really, just send in the Death Ball, because that's the only way you're going to get a close to even fight out of it. Maybe if you had like a Jerry and Grendel fight them, which is what I was hoping was going to happen. But unfortunately, that was not to be. It was a very entertaining fight to watch. It wasn't a very even fight, but there was a lot of very, very potent firepower being flung around. But we definitely saw the stronger team. I don't want to ever make like aspirations on relative skill levels. There were some very talented players on both sides of this matchup. You can very much see the stronger characters come out here.
No, I do not want to see 4 Invokers, Lewis. Stop.
We saw two invokers at the last AGL, didn't we? And only one of them brought high explosive ammunition wands with him
Yes, I know. One of them was summoning the mob with the Sandlord candle during the
to
match.
kill during the fight. Like, I'm not even upset by that. See, now, the next match that I want to watch, I want to see a paladin and a priest go up against a shadow knight and a priest. Because if we play our cards right this way, we can completely skip jousting tonight, and we can just have AGL forever. And that's what I want. I'm a very simple person with very simple tastes. I simply want to spend the next 6 hours watching two people poke at each other while they're priests. I think they slap fight on the other end of the arena, but I've never actually seen a priest-to-priest fight play all the way out on a level playing field like that. Oh, and Grendel does get
We
pulled
have
up.
Grendel, Asheri, and Omnigodin and Granik, as we predicted.
Going up against the Conclave Death Ball that I've been alluding to this entire time. The unfortunate thing for them is that they actually are going up against their natural counter. Having Song of Peace available means that you can't necessarily keep the evokers in combat with each other. Unfortunately, or fortunately for them, Grendel does not have any form of actual crowd control to sleep one of the two evokers.
You don't count hitting 8 times a round and power swinging crowd control?
It's not a hard CC. You're not taking somebody out of the fight. You're just beating them all the harder, and that's definitely the difference. I don't really anticipate seeing power swing come out in this fight, though.
No, I don't envision. Well, it depends how low Grendel gets.
Yeah, this isn't a fight that you really want to sacrifice hitting for. Like, you want to go in with both weapons unfurled, or whatever weapons you use. I guess they're spears, so just brandish both of them and then just beat them into the ground, because if they're going in AMS,
I hope they come in AMS.
They're going to take
They are going to take so much damage.
Terrible damage, because you're going to flip one of them over and attack their weak point for massive damage. And
Maybe I don't have any physical weapons.
I'm going to have to sit here and narrate just the worst kind of murder that has been perpetrated on DSL since Deathmere pulled off that backbreaker on an NPC Angel. Or when Raj took Malachi to Suplex City and exploded him so hard that parts of his body landed on her.
The Conclave Death Team is favored.
Are they really?
Aren't they Fury?
No, that is the Bloodlust team. There was no team name prayed up for them, so they are now just Team Fury. The Evoker pair was Team Thunderstruck. So this should be entertaining. Like this promises another one of those high profile, big damage kind of fights. And now Kilvin going at it with a Jerry. It looks like we may actually have a follow-up match, assuming that Team Fury wins. I think it might actually end up being a Jerry versus the Del Nietzsche family. And unfortunately, I don't know where to throw my money in a matchup like that. Kilvin now threatening Ajeri's ears. If he comes down, he's going to find out why we elected President Trump to protect us from specifically Ajeri. Like that was the one reason that I threw my money behind that horse, was that he promised me that Ajeri wouldn't threaten me again. Can't drive a carriage. See, now we're getting ethnic with this, Trace. Like, keep it clean.
I'm really curious if Conclave has pitted shields. If not, they're going to take a big beating.
Unfortunately, I don't play any characters that have detection. So even if I were in a position to give you information, which as a caster I cannot and will not, I couldn't. See, Ferg is completely on board with what I'm saying here, and I appreciate that kind of forthrightness. And now we have 1 minute left in this matchup. I suppose that I should probably quaff like a glittering potion or something. We absolutely tremendous AGL. We have the best AGL, as a matter of fact. We've been doing this all our lives. It's going to be great. The best thing is, Althania already paid for it. So now we're all going to sit here. We're going to have ourselves a good time watching some hopefully just spectacular and big damage fights. Look, Ferg, it's Asian American, please. Like we've gotten beyond that. "15 seconds to launch." Both invokers have gone into AMS. Or not AMS, but into non-detection. I'm just all the way out of it. This is interesting already. It looks like we do have a golem up. And Azeri summoning spirits into his room to soak chains. Hit him in the troll part. It's his only weakness, says the Kender. Azeri taking very big damage from Amgatten. Azeri is now visible, and it looks like one of them, Amgatten, immediately eating a stun and eating yellow damage from Grendel. Dear Lord. Like this is the danger that comes from going up against two very big hitters. Grendel already taking the blind, but if Azeri is leading him correctly, Granick is now using Chain on everybody. And now we see the emergence of the Death Ball. Amgatten, however, just implodes, and now Granick is getting beaten pretty badly. Gets weapon stunned by the troll. Gets the chain off, though, but he is now in red health, and there is no mercy coming out of this team. And that was Grendel now, I think, cleansing.
Yeah, I just cleansed.
Okay, I was wondering if that were the case. And Azeri not even needing the troll's help to just finish off Granick on his own.
I don't know if you know. I guess you didn't tell, but you can't tell. But as Harry no-followed me and wouldn't put it back on because I don't know what he was doing.
I did notice that Grendel did get grouped after the fight had started. I didn't know what was happening. I'm assuming that he just hit a generic no-follow instead of no following the spirit because he was trying to get some soak in.
I think
but it turns out
he didn't type enough words.
Yeah, but they didn't even need it. Like that was savage. And I love casting Grendel fights at least because there's no actual overstatement. There's no hyperbole that comes into a Grendel fight. You're fighting a troll barbarian
who does yellows through.
Yeah, the only thing that is comparable is like trying to describe a natural disaster because Grendel is at this point the Hindenburg.
The Hindenburg,
and he's just crash landing.
I'm really surprised blind landed on me. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I had offering too.
Did use the offering, but like, I don't know what you really expect out of a troll barbarian save. They have to have something.
They save really well. You don't even know.
I
just
don't.
ask Hydra in last year's finals.
Yeah, I actually don't know anybody who plays on Hydra anymore.
I believe that was the last match, right?
I do believe so. That was a pretty good night of matches. The first two were perhaps a little bit dry, but I think that if this takes off a little bit better and we get a couple of more teams in the mix, we could see some really promising matches in a doubles AGL league to go with the normal AGL.
Okay, we're
because
just gonna call it a night at this point then. Thanks for listening, everyone, and I guess we'll see you on Monday. That's probably when the next AGL is.
looking forward to seeing you guys on Monday.
All right, see you guys later. Bye
Have a
bye.
good night.